So behind me, I have a 2021 Freightliner Cascadia with a DD15 engine, and I'm gonna show you how OTR Diagnostics works on this 2021 Freightliner with a DD15 engine. So let's get started. So I got OTR Diagnostics up on my phone. I have the adapter already connected and paired to the phone, and I just opened up OTR Diagnostics. I'm already logged in, and what I already see is 3 active fault codes on this truck. I'm gonna go ahead and on the dashboard, you see fault codes, live data, and then some bidirectional commands for hot buttons. You'll see your history, and you see some knowledge base. But what I'm gonna start with also when you first come in this app is I really want to understand what's going on with the truck. I want to understand my fault codes, and I kind of want to understand what issues I'm having. So usually I start there. So this truck currently has 3 active fault codes. All these fault codes are under the CPC controller, and all of them are related to the DEF, which is the after treatment system. And so this truck is currently stuck in a 5-mile-an-hour D rate. And if you click on one of the fault codes, it would practically just kind of go over the enhanced. It's enhanced, so it means it has more information. And it looks like this fault code is SA1 SPN 521049 FMI31. And it looks like the overview of this fault code is a DEF inducement DEF lamp active, which means practically we have an issue with the after treatment system, and the fault symptoms is that it's in a 25% D rate. The repair procedure is diagnose any emission related fault codes first, and to fix this and to verify that this has been fixed is high idle regen followed by a parked SCR efficiency test. So practically what it wants you to do is run a forced DPF regen and then an SCR efficiency regen right after that, just to ensure that the system is working correctly. Also, just want to kind of go over the different things that we have here. We have active fault codes and inactive fault codes. On this truck, we don't have any inactive fault codes, we just have active fault codes. And so we're going to go through the commands menu. We're going to see every truck you ever connect to is going to kind of be 3 different buckets at the moment. We have reset fault codes, reset after treatment, and a forced regen. And when you hit reset fault codes, we're going to reset fault codes on all the modules on the truck. And then in the reset after treatment system, we have reset ash accumulator and DPF zone levels here. So if you replace your DPF filter, you're going to click that. And then for forced regen, we're going to have 2 different regen options. You're going to see forced DPF regen and then forced SCR regen. And so these regens, once you initiate them, they're going to initiate through the phone. So the phone is really a really powerful diagnostic tool, and it's going to do it as the same level as if you had a laptop or any dealer was going to do this regen. It's the same type of regen that we're going to be sending to the truck to start that process. Now, the forced DPF regen is really important because there's a lot of fault codes that require you to do a forced DPF regen to ensure that the system is operating correctly. Now, a lot of times you could try resetting your fault codes, but what happens is the fault codes will reappear because the issue hasn't been solved. So just pay attention to that. So if the fault code comes right back, you know that you have a problem and you have to address that problem in order for that to clear. And in some cases, especially with some Detroit Diesel fault codes, it does require you to either do a forced DPF regen or a forced SCR efficiency test to ensure that the system is operating correctly. Sometimes it even takes up to 2 back-to-back regens to ensure that everything is working correctly. So there is some issues with Detroit Diesel to validate the repair, but a lot of times it just requires you to do a little bit of extra diagnosis, and there's definitely, you could use OTR Diagnostics to help you with that process. And one thing I like about OTR Diagnostics, it also gives you the capabilities to do live data, to look at your live data parameters from your engine as well as your after treatment system. So it covers things like DEF tank level, DEF tank temperatures, your EGR mass flow rate, your EGR, your DPF soot load, your valve position, your EGR valve position, your engine coolant level, your engine coolant temperature. It even covers your intake manifold pressure, which is your boost pressure, your intake manifold temperature. So it covers a lot of different parameters and it keeps covering more and more parameters. It kind of gives you a good understanding of what's going on with your truck. So as you're driving down the truck and you're monitoring these parameters, you're seeing what's going on with your truck because you're covering, we want to get the most value out of OTR Diagnostics by paying attention to these values to really understand your truck. That's the most important thing that I know. When you're driving over the road, you want to understand what's going on with your truck so that way you can identify if you're having an issue with your truck before you actually have the fault codes. If you notice your truck's running sluggish or your truck's not getting the fuel mileage it should be, there's probably a real reason behind that, and you definitely want to diagnose it further to see what's going on. Sometimes it's going to throw the fault codes, sometimes it won't. Sometimes they'll throw a fault code and then you reset the fault code and then that fault code never appears again. So that's where we kind of dive deeper into ghost codes, where if sometimes your truck will throw a ghost code and then that fault code just disappears without you ever having to replace any part. And so sometimes you just want to pay attention to those. And that's where what's nice about OTR Diagnostics is it captures every fault code. These fault codes that are on this truck right now get stored in what's called the history section of OTR Diagnostics. So you're able to see the history of everything that you've ever connected to with using OTR Diagnostics. So you'll be able to reference that later. So if you have, let's say, an issue right now and you reset the fault codes, you'll be able to look at what issue you have with your truck, so you could share that with the shop or your mechanic or whoever you take your truck to. If you want to share that information, you could go ahead and share that at a later time. And what's nice about OTR Diagnostics is you can also print and share the report. So you can go ahead and print OTR Diagnostics in a report, and you can share it or print it off. So if you want to get more information, you want to see all the information on a printer, you can definitely go ahead and do that. We give you that capability. So we kind of went over OTR Diagnostics in its entirety. We went over the dashboard, we went over the fault codes, the bidirectional commands with the live data, as well as the history. And I kind of gave you a good overview of everything that's included in OTR Diagnostics. Now this also works on other heavy duty engines, and so every engine gives you different capabilities, but what's very nice about OTR Diagnostics is it's very similar and it's always like the same concept. So that way you don't have to relearn a tool in order for you to use a different vehicle. You just plug in the adapter into another truck and it's very basic and it's very simple to use, so that way you can use it on multiple trucks with multiple different engines. I just showed you how OTR Diagnostics works on this 2021 Freightliner with a DD15 engine. Now, if you're not sure about what the compatibility is of OTR Diagnostics for your truck, you can go ahead and visit us at otrperformance.com and you can take the quiz that we have on our website. This quiz would kind of walk you through the capabilities of OTR Diagnostics and also kind of give us some indication of what you're looking for to pair you up with the right diagnostic tool for your needs.